Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families.
And I'm Merrill Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families. And we are excited to have you join us as we talk all things faith, family, and fitness. A special thanks to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency for their support of Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community one family at a time. Welcome to Rock Solid Radios. Hey, this is Merrill Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families, being honored and privileged to be with my favorite host, not guest, host, Linda.
That's right. You're right.
That's right, host.
I am your co-host.
Co-host, Linda Hutchinson. How are you, babe?
I'm great. How are you, babe?
Good.
Spring is coming soon.
Spring is finally coming.
Time's changed. We have more sunshine.
We've cheated a little bit and had a couple of nice sunny days, so that is really awesome.
Yeah.
And so, now that the time has changed, gosh, we just have all kinds of sunlight. It's amazing.
I know. It does do a lot to your psyche, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, it does. And with all of that, why am I still working in the basement, finishing a basement? I need to be outside.
Because that was supposed to be your job in the winter, and then you had that knee surgery. So
yeah,
that kind
I know.
Of
so that means probably in July I'll still be working in the basement. All right, whatever. Yeah. So what in the world are we doing today?
Well, hon, we are so excited that we have just had the opportunity to be with some folks the last couple weeks out in Batesville, Indiana, doing our Families Rock series. And so part of that series involved asking some questions from our parents, our guests that were there at these classes, and so we're just going to tackle some of their questions tonight.
It's one of the things that we get a lot of are the questions, and they usually come in one-off type questions, whether they're families or couples that come in here, and it's kind of neat in the situation that we're in with our parenting class that we have many questions coming in all at one time. And so we've been answering some of those in the class, but we're just going to take the show, probably even a couple of shows, to be honest with you, because we have a lot of questions. And they're questions that even though they may have come from a specific person, they can be very easily generalized to a much wider population. So let's start to tackle some of those tonight and see if we can help some folks.
Yeah,
but before we do that...
Oh, I know. We have to pay some bills.
Yes.
So let's thank our sponsors. First, we want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency. Mansfield Insurance Agency has a reputation in business built on caring, listening, and protecting their customer. Mansfield Insurance Agency began in 1981 by Jim Mansfield and is dedicated to serving the individuals and businesses in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So if you have any kind of insurance need, call Mansfield Insurance Agency today at 1-800-230-3927.
All right. We also want to thank Maxwell Constructions for coming alongside of Rock Solid Radio. Maxwell Construction was established in 1988 by John Maxwell. Since that time, it has grown to become recognized as one of the largest construction companies in the tri-state area. What separates Maxwell Construction apart from their competition is their emphasis on being service-oriented to help meet the individual needs of their customers. So whether it's a school, hospital, restaurant, apartment, or retail center, Maxwell Construction is able to meet your needs. Call Maxwell Construction today at 812-537-2200.
Yeah, hon. And we were talking about Families Rock, and so we just wanted to, if you're listening to this when it's first posted, we have 2 weeks left, hon, to this series, which we received a grant from the Rising Sun Regional Foundation to provide some incentives for parents and for teachers that are going to be taking a part of this. And it's not just available just to Batesville school parents. This is for any parents in Southeast Indiana, if you live in the area, or even Southwest Ohio or Northern Kentucky. It's not too far to come on out. So we have 2 weeks left. Tuesday, March 10th, from 6:30 to 7:30, and then we flip, hon, to a Monday. We've been 3 Tuesdays in a row, but then March 16th will be from 6:30 to 7:30, all at Batesville Intermediate School.
Yeah, what's
Batesville,
cool
Indiana.
about that is we're right in the cafeteria, which is large enough that it's been able to hold all of our crowds pretty well. And also, it's that cafeteria is set up so right next to it is a gym and an art room and some other different rooms where childcare is provided for free. So if you are interested and you're thinking, well, I can't make it because of my child care needs, let us take care of those.
Yeah, and it's been kind of cool. We've had some honor society kids that are teenagers helping out to provide childcare, and that's just been a great experience. So the kids are having fun, and families, we have been giving away, $250,000.
Whoa, I need to put my name in.
Not really. $250 worth of family packages every week. So whether it be a summer at the pool, whether it be Y passes, whether it be gift cards, it's been a really cool experience, I think, for families to take away. So.
Yeah. A couple of other things that we just want to touch on is one, we do our regular finishing classes here 6 days a week, but I would like to at least start to launch the idea, and this will be in April that we'll actually start this. I have done for a year and a half or so a Strong Dads class.
Which I love.
Which is an 8-week fitness class / Bible study. And one of the things that we have found is that a lot of guys want to continue to keep hanging out.
Yeah.
And so what we are going to do starting in April.
Because they would keep coming back.
A couple of the guys who just can't quite figure it out. But anyway, we are going to dedicate Saturday mornings to being kind of a men or father morning where we will start at 8 o'clock in the morning and we'll do a workout, and then we will follow that with a Bible study, or what I would like to think of as kind of a dad study. And we're going to let our topics be pretty much standalone so that you could come and join us at any time.
That's so cool.
So you don't have to be like, well, I can't make all 8 weeks or anything like that, because we know work schedules and kids' schedules get busy. So we're looking forward to launching that change, and we'll see how that rolls. But it'll be a good chance to get some new guys in there.
So we're going to call it maybe Strong Dad Saturdays or something?
Something like that. Yeah. I'll have to tweak all that. But that's kind of where we're going to go.
8 to 9:30 then.
Yes.
Yeah. So starting in April. So if you're interested in that, or maybe you've done Strong Dads before and that's something you'd like to continue, contact Merrill at hutch@rocksolidfamilies.org. He'd love to connect you and give you more details on that. So, Hun, we're going to get to some of our questions because there were so many. And again, these were questions from parents from our Families Rock series that we've been having the last couple weeks and continuing to have 2 more. But several questions, Hun, were about this balance of screens. Our first week was called Parenting in a Tech-Heavy World, where we really talked about what does that look like, a healthy balance of screen time and technology time. And so, Hun, this question that we got a lot of repeats on was, how do we balance screens when kids are on them all day for school? You know, our kids in our school district, they were given Chromebooks, and I know other school districts in the area have iPads that the kids are given, and they use them all day long.
Right.
So how do we create this balance? Yeah. How do we create this balance for screen time when the kids are already on them a lot during the school day?
Well, before you jump into your answer, I think, and a lot of times people are like, I don't even know where to begin. And I just want to interject here that we are in the Lenten season, and one of the things that we have done in our family is we created a screen fast.
And our kids are so happy.
And and it basically just was just kind of a hard break in dealing with the situation, even in our own home. The Hutchinson home is not clean of this particular blemish.
We struggle with it just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else. Yep. And so, we just really felt like we needed to get a handle on it and let our, as much as it is for you and I, because you and I both admittedly needed to get a break or put things in perspective. Our kids needed to see that we could put things in perspective for ourselves, and we expected them to be able to follow that as well. Yeah. And so we're almost 2 weeks in, and honestly, some different things have really began to happen in the house.
Yeah, well, let's explain a little bit about what we did, because it is true. I mean, you and I have to work, and so we use computers all day long for work and our phones for work, and the kids were using their computers for school. So what our fast looks like is that when we get home, and they have practices after school. When we get home, we have dinner together as a family, and then the screens go to bed. They're put up. So that
After dinner.
After dinner. So that means phones, all of our phones, including you and I, includes our laptops and iPads or whatever we had, and, the TV.
Yes.
So no TV after dinner. And so I don't know about for you, and I would love to hear from you about that. But for me, I took away that I bring too much work home with me and found myself trying to catch up after dinner on some things, whether it be following up with appointments or writing podcasts or whatever. And so not having that time after dinner, I found myself really having to readjust my time during the day. And I got anxious about that. The first week was hard of just not having that extra time. But now I'm getting in a rhythm where I know when I leave, I don't even bring my computer home because I'm not going to use it.
Can I just say this? Whether it's you or me or the kids, we can always create an excuse for why we do what we do.
Yep.
Well, I've got work to do. I have to do this.
Right.
I'm too busy to worry about exercising. I don't have time to do that. Okay. We can throw up the rationalization all day long. And I think you and I quickly kind of realized that even in the first few days, we wanted to kind of rationalize, like, well, I didn't get this done today. So, I mean, do you want the books, balanced this week or not? It's like, well, what are we going to do here? And so it really was a priority check. And again, it's, at the end of the day, things are going to get done when they get done. And I think sometimes we put all of these crazy boundaries on us, and we end up getting very lax in how we approach a lot of our work. Maybe we're not as efficient through the day. Maybe we think we're super busy, but we find we're sloppy with things. So anyway, that's kind of what the Hutchinsons are doing. And I love the way you said that. And boy, our kids are happy.
Actually, our youngest is the happiest because he doesn't have a phone. And he loves quality time with family. And so every night he's like, want to play a game, play a card game? You want to go out and shoot hoops? And so
I have beat his butt in more card games.
I know.
I love it.
But he knows that the options of TVs and screens and work is not an option. And so it really has created this. So the question here is about the balance when it's at school and work. So I think that's even more the reason why we need to set real limits when they get home. Obviously if they have schoolwork to do, but otherwise kick them outside. Especially now time has changed. Make it a rule that the phones and the tablets, they don't come out during the week after dinner or on the weekend. TV doesn't get turned on. I mean, whatever works for you guys. But remember, please, you are the parent.
Right.
And so we keep saying that we can't. Yes, we can. We can make changes, and our kids will appreciate if we help create that balance at home.
Yeah. I like you said, and I think it's just that we have to make it the priority. And the first day is actually easy because you're sort of excited, like, okay, we're going to do this. And it's the 3 and 4 days deep that you're starting to go, well, what are we supposed to do? I will say all of our kids are actually going to bed earlier.
Yes.
Because, they're done with their homework.
And we're getting to bed earlier.
They have an option to read or do something like that or play some games. But if they don't want to do that, they're welcome to go to bed. And so, yes, the whole house has actually gone to bed probably about a half hour to 45 minutes earlier than prior to this fast.
Yeah. So give it a try. And again, we talked about an electronic fast and doing a reset button. And for some, that just seems impossible because of work and school. But do what you can. Do what you can at home to put the phones away, to plug them in another room, and just allow the family to have that time together.
I know people, Hun, saying this, that are now going to the point because as you have made light of before, not light of, but you put the light on it, the idea that a lot of employers are expecting people to respond to phone messages or texts or emails. And, that is kind of almost to a point of a violation of your home time. And we are now running into people that actually are making the statement. Yeah. I just tell people, Listen,
Yes.
if you email me or text me or whatever after such and such time,
Yeah.
it's not going to be touched until tomorrow.
Right.
And no apologies for that.
Right.
Because, that's showing everybody else in your world of what you prioritize.
Sure. And we have a daughter who worked at the ski slopes, and of course there are a lot of teenagers, first-time employees, and so they were texting their employer, their boss, their manager at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they're like wondering why they're not. I'm like, you guys, stop it. Not this late at night. They're not going to respond, and if they do, they need to set some healthy boundaries. So it's really important that we don't allow ourselves to be that 24-hour access. It's unnerving to us emotionally, spiritually, but also to our family. So, Okay, so here's another question, hun. And this is really, you could really attest to this in your work at the schools as a school counselor. How do you get parents on the same page with a healthy balance, let's say screens or anything else really, especially when it's a blended family or a divorce situation?
Yeah.
And so we're talking about when you have one set of rules at your house and then somebody else has another set of rules. And so, and you've said this before, hun, it is so important. And we did a whole show on this on co-parenting,
right?
That is to keep the communication going and civil among all involved. And that's step parents, that's ex-spouses, those are boyfriend and girlfriends. Nobody wins when parents are against each other.
Yeah, when you think about that question, how do I go about creating a balance or kind of a same standard from one house to the other? Because of the work that we've been involved in, and me in schools and now here at Rock Solid Families, you come to realize that the playing field is not very equal on a lot of levels, at least in the state of Indiana, and some of them are changing. When you are dealing with a situation where if we are in a divorce home and the child is with, let's just say, dad on like Wednesday nights and then every other weekend, that is so skewed in terms of time that we really don't have an understanding of that dad does not have an understanding of what daily life is for that kid.
Homework, bedtime routines.
So he doesn't have it. He doesn't feel the stress of it. And then it flip-flops the other way is the other home. And in this case, I'll just say mom. She's carrying all of the load of the homework and the daily practices and all those different things. And so the other side of this is, okay, I'm the dad. I only get to see my kid one night a week on Wednesday nights for 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm not going to be the bad guy. It's kind of how they perceive that or how they understand it. And so from the get-go, I've worked very hard to say, okay, let's go back to the planning table and let's talk about how we can more equally divide this up. And the reason why I say that is because we have to create an equal playing field or basically equal stressors in both environments for it to make sense. For the dad to decide, okay, now I understand why we have to have limited computer time or screen time. And now mom starts to share some of that load. And so that is critical. And we've talked about it before. If this is not equal or relatively close, you're at an uphill battle, right? You're not going to make sense of things. With that being said, you still have to get out of your own way. Divorce often has people who are hurt, and forgiveness is difficult. And one of the things that we push very hard on, who are you angry at, and then who are you going to use as leverage against that person? If you're angry at your ex, and are you going to use the kids as leverage? Okay, and if we get to that, then we've got some immaturity problems. We've got some selfish problems. So
well, and I've seen this a lot where a phone, for example, the age of the phone. And so you'll have a dad who gets one night a week and every other weekend, and he'll pay for his 7-year-old, let's say, to have a phone because he wants to contact the child anytime he wants. Well, he doesn't deal with the other 6 days a week where mom is dealing with the 7-year-old that is not in control and knows a healthy balance of a phone. And he's using it way too much. He's using it inappropriately. Right. And so dad's like, well, it's my right. I want my child to have a phone. I want to be able to contact him anytime I want. But that's not just who he's contacting. That's not what he's using it for. And so if mom and dad can get on the same page and create a plan, and you've said this a lot, hon, that if you can't figure that out yourself, if you can't be civil, then get some mediation. Right. Call us. We do that a lot.
I've talked many times over, people will argue for months and months about who gets the couch or who gets the car or who gets this or that, and they won't spend a dime on how they're going to parent and share kid time. And so when we see it being skewed like this, the one who suffers is the child. Yeah. Now, the sad part about this is oftentimes the child doesn't recognize it or even see or understand that they are going to suffer because they're playing the system.
Oh, yeah, they're playing it.
And it's not until later down the road that they're starting to wonder why the whole family is just crazy and turbulent and all of that.
Well, and like you said, the child's going to play that. And they're going to play you against each other.
And we can't blame the child for that because we set up the arena for that.
So don't assume the other parent knows or agrees, even if the child says, oh, mom said it was okay or dad said it was okay. Please, please keep those lines of communication open. Constantly be checking with them to make sure that's what they wanted or that's what they meant. And then, if you don't have a plan, please do that in private. Do not talk about it. Do not argue about it in front of the children. It's important that you guys get mediation or that you talk about it privately so that when you come out of that war room, you are a united front. That is so important.
The greatest gift you ever give your entire family will be that.
Yes, absolutely. So, that really applies, honey, to anything, not just screen time and phones and that kind of stuff. This can be applying to anything. I've seen it where they do gymnastics? Do they, play football? It's easy for dad to say, oh, yeah, I want him to play football, but he's not driving him to practice 5 nights a week.
Right.
So it's important that mom and dad are on the same page. Okay, here's another one, hun. Ooh, teens and social media. This is a huge one.
Yeah.
So,
well, I want to hear your take on this first.
Oh, can we just tell you, this is a constant battle in our home with a 16, a 14, and a 12-year-old right now.
Well, can we back up? Why is it a constant battle?
Because the world is fighting against us.
That's right. It's because of the social pressure of it.
Oh, sure.
And again, this is another situation where we can't blame our kids, all right? We've allowed this world to be created. We are the adults or the parents in this. And so our kids are only doing what they perceive as everybody else is doing or what's in at this time.
And our kids play us like a fiddle. Just the other day, our 6-year-old was like, hey, Mom, so-and-so's parents let them have their phone at night when they have friends over. I'm like, is this like peer pressure 101? Like, no, I don't care what your friends' parents do.
It was a good effort on his part.
I know. But social media, we just did this class on parenting in a tech-heavy world. We do not recommend any kind of social media apps before high school. After that, I believe only if students give you their passwords and allow you to monitor. So like if you can be their follower or their friend, start with something simple like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter where you can monitor. I highly do not recommend Snapchat or TikTok. Several of these dating apps, Tinder, those things allow such anonymity, such dangerous habits and decisions to be made that you cannot follow or monitor at all. Right. So I really do. I really highly do not recommend that you do not allow those in early, especially, oh my goodness, please, elementary and junior high. They are just not mature enough to handle it.
Well, so here's where the argument comes in, especially when you have good kids or kids that have not failed you yet. And the idea that they're like, I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not going to do the wrong thing with it. And this is that part where because it is social media, you are opening yourself up to society. This is often not what your child would do, which
Sure,
again,
not
that can be a
sometimes your
question,
child.
right? If your
Right.
child's got questionable behavior, what they're doing, then that needs to be looked at. But what we are looking at, especially with one of our children, is that we're not concerned about what they will do so much on the social media. Not that they're all perfect, because they're not, but we would have a higher trust factor with this particular child. But it's what will come into their world.
Oh, yeah.
What
Right.
a particular person might say, the bullying,
Yeah.
just a simple making fun of.
Yeah. Inappropriate stuff.
Is your child ready to handle these types of things?
Yeah.
We've seen, and we've given this stat so many times, we are at an all-time high rate of depression and suicide and anxiety with our teens.
Yep.
We are also at an all-time high rate of cyberbullying.
Right.
It's going to be
suicides.
hard for us to dissect out those two, because I think that they're very closely connected.
Yeah.
If I'm already a little bit weak or a little bit frail, and somebody tees me up on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and I don't know how to put that in this perspective, I'm probably going to take a heavy hit.
Hey, that's hard for us as
Yeah.
adults to handle.
Well, that's why I don't do half of those things, because I just really don't want to see all the garbage.
Right. And the statistic says that teens who are on social media platforms are 3 times more likely for anxiety and depression. And I do believe that is why the suicide rate is, for young girls from 10 to 14, 5 times the increase, depending on what stat and is it nationwide or worldwide, but at least doubled to, in some stats it says even 5 times the suicide rate. So our teens are not mature enough to handle what's coming across their phone and their tablets. So please, mom and dad, I know some parents would say, oh, they'll be social leopards without their social apps. They won't,
Yeah.
and you will be a happier parent and they will be a happier child without them. So I don't recommend it till high school at least, and that's if they're showing some maturity. Okay. Whoa, do we have time for one more question?
We have time for one more question.
Here's a quick one. Screens and special needs. Okay, so we had quite a few parents who have children ADHD. A couple of them had some kids on the autism spectrum who are wondering, okay, what do I do with that in screens? So let us just say this. Screen time, listen parents, screen time exasperates already underlying issues. Okay, let me say that again. Screen time exasperates already underlying issues. So if you give in because maybe they're being pressured or wanting you to let them have this or that, just remember that, and I've heard this before, when the child is maybe ADHD, oh, I'm going to give them their tablet because it calms them down. Or somebody on the spectrum, well, he's socially awkward already, so maybe he can be more socialized through screens. That is a myth. You're actually doing more harm. It's work, but put the screens away, turn off the TV, and maybe take them to a playground or a skate park.
Yeah.
That would be more beneficial.
Yeah, I just have to get up on this subject with you, just because the idea, first off, do screens work? Well, yes, depending on what your request of the screen is, it will babysit or occupy.
Yeah,
okay.
great babysitter.
But let's just quickly go to the child with ADHD. The child with ADHD seeks immediate gratification at a higher rate than most other kids.
Yes.
Okay, they also seek a lot of change or distraction at a high rate. So if one kid can kind of sit for 20 minutes and slowly take on whatever is rolling out in front of them and not get too bored, fine. But the ADHD kid might need every 3 to 5 minutes, they need to see some change. Well, isn't that interesting? That's exactly how computer programmers, software designers, how they design that. And again, we'd love for them to not basically take advantage of all of our kiddos, but that's where you as a parent have to step in. So there are situations where we can use constructive educational tools under the watch of a supervisor or parent, but for the most part, most of these kids, as you said, hon, these screens just just kind of exaggerate all the problems that we have and make it even more entrenched in the struggle that they have.
Yeah. And so you're doing the opposite of what you think is going to help them. So please, please put the screens down. It is not helping. And actually, I love the book by Dr. Dunkley, I think it is. Reset Your Child's Brain. And so if you have
He uses that reset button
it's
too?
It's actually a woman. It's Victoria.
Oh,
Dunkley.
I'm sorry.
Dunkley, I think it is. Dr. Dunkley. She did years of research on children and the screens. And so her comments really do resonate, especially with kids with special needs. So yes, Reset Your Child's Brain is something you should look into. So,
well, hey, you did a fantastic job.
That was just 1 week of questions.
That's 1 week, and we have questions for many others. In fact, for our next show that we'll do, we'll be taking on some more of the questions that we're pulling from that. So we're going to try to take on a collective group of these questions from each evening, and we're going to try to generalize them enough to reach our population out there, okay? We would also say that if you ever do have a specific question or you are seeking some guidance, reach out to us. You can get us at Rock Solid Families. That's 812-576-7625. We'd be more than glad to talk with you on the phone or even schedule an appointment and come on in and let's see what we can do to help out.
Yeah, and as we close, we just want to thank again our sponsors for today's show. A huge thank you to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency. Please let them know how much you appreciate this programming and the difference it's making in your life, your family's life. We hope you'll share this show with your family and friends, especially if you were in our Families Rock series and you asked some of these questions. Maybe you can share it online with your other friends. So we just want to thank you so much for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. For help or more information about what you've heard on today's show, contact us at rocksolidfamilies.org or call us at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-ROCK. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency. If you have questions you'd like answered on our show or you want to chime in on something you heard, go to our Facebook page, Rock Solid Families. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, and for my husband Merrill and I, thanks for tuning in to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time.